Thank you for joining us. I'm Callahan Marshall in for Gary today. So chilly this morning, 19 degrees when I hopped in my car.
Another cold start. Thankfully it's been dry though, and as I was driving in, I was focused on the moon, of course. That's a big story today, of a lunar eclipse to begin your morning. In fact, we'll take a look right now at the radar first, because there's a couple of things we want to talk about when it comes to this lunar eclipse. We have an approaching frontal boundary coming in from the southwest. Now, due to the nighttime conditions, of course, satellite feeds might not be the best in providing you with a cloud cover view from the satellite imagery, but we can see the slow approach of this leading edge of snow from the southwest. Now, ahead of that, the cloud layer is right around here, and we are on the fringe of it. And I just hope that cloud cover remains thin enough that we see a good glimpse of this blood moon lunar eclipse for the last time. We'll see it until 2029. And as Callahan mentioned, it's a cold morning out there. Temperatures are in the teens and single digits. 12 in Rome, 7 Johnstown. A little warmer down south, with that cloud cover has been a bit more persistent. And as we head throughout the day today, as it does start out dry, unlike yesterday, there's a lot less sunshine. And in fact, we're tracking a bit of a wintry mix. We got snow chances, we got sleet chances, we have freezing rain chances, and of course, rain to top it all off. So we'll be diving into who sees what, the time frame of this, the impacts as well, and potentially if there's any accumulation, what you could see coming up in a few minutes. Callahan?
All right, Eric, thank you. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. New this morning.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to News Channel 2 at sunrise. So at the top of the hour, we have been slowly tracking this lunar eclipse, if we can find a way to view it. And we have the ability to right now, but we are really cutting it close with cloud cover to our south and west. So we'll talk about it right here in our forecast in a minute. So right now, this is the view of the eclipse. You might see some of it peeking through the clouds right there, but again, it's dodging it for the time being. And of course, trying to track this as well, auto-focusing. Eventually, we're going to get a view of it in a much more clear fashion. But let's take a look at what it looked like moments ago, which was the shadow right here, Earth's shadow right over the moon. And it's going to take a little bit before it produces that blood red color as it gets closer and closer to the horizon. So that's what we're looking at today. And I'll try to find snapshots to pull from it in case we have reduced visibility here. But cloud cover is our issue. Now, following this eclipse, I do want to mention that today we might have some tricky travel situations, especially in less traveled roads, untreated surfaces. Cloud cover increases. We're going to see the arrival of some snowfall, eventually switching over to a wintry mix and freezing rain. We'll talk a bit more about that, of course, coming up in just a couple of minutes. Callahan?
All right, we'd like to think it's nearing the end of winter, at least it seems like it is. And that means it's pothole season.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Right now, we're still tracking a lunar eclipse passing over our night sky. And I feel like every time we're about to go live and show it, the clouds move in at just the right time. Here is a live view, and I hope I'm going to keep a close eye on it. If it pops up again, we're hopefully going to see it peek through some of the clouds right here. In fact, we might have some partial clearing right here. Maybe we have some, or is that just an illusion here on our camera? Here we go. We have some glimpse of it. There is our lunar eclipse. And come on, move away the clouds a little bit. There you see the shadow right there. We are dodging these stubborn clouds. This is what we were talking about yesterday. We were hoping these clouds were just maybe a little bit more south, but we're right on the fringe of it. Hopefully, they stay maybe a lot more like this and less overcast as we progress throughout the morning. But nonetheless, there's the live view of the eclipse right now. And the reason for that right here is that approaching low pressure system. That's dragging in some impactful weather today. So again, following this eclipse, we have some busy weather to track. Now, locally right now, it is pretty dry. Your morning commute will be okay to drive in. But again, The time frame of this lunar eclipse takes place peaking at 6:33 with the moon setting at 6:35. So that means as it gets closer and closer to the horizon, it's going to produce more of a blood red color as more of that light passes through the atmosphere. By the time the eclipse ends, it's already well below horizon, so this will not be anything that we can see after around 6:35 today. So on our Skycast, we can see here those clouds increase. Here's that leading edge of snow. It's not heavy. It's light to moderate at times. By this evening, we have some bit of a wintry mix moving in, especially in the southern valleys. That'll switch over to a rain type of scenario heading into the evening with some snow showers remaining up north. And then following that, after maybe a few icy spots Wednesday morning at some of those locations, it's pretty dry Wednesday. We do start out in the 30s. We climb into the upper 30s, pushing 40 degrees, and some partial clearing as we head into the evening. And then Thursday, well, it starts out pretty dry. In fact, remains pretty dry for much of the day, maybe a few sprinkles as the leading edge of a system begins to move in as we head into Thursday night. When it comes to snowfall potential, this is not, again, a big system here, elevation dependent, where that cold air will be pretty persistent. But nonetheless, still, just be prepared for some slippery spots, as well as maybe a light layer of ice. This is not a concerning amount, but it's enough to at least coat some untreated surfaces. Your 7-day forecast, we have a bit of a March thaw on the way to at least this week. I mean, this is a colder day, the coldest day of the next 7. I mean, this is something we've been hoping for. A lot of those spring fans hoping for, approaching 40s, 50s, a good amount of snowmelt. We'll watch flooding potential, but again, this will be something that will really cut down on those snowpacks that really haven't melted too much this year.
Yeah, you talked about ice a little bit before you went into that 7-day. Then I looked at the 7-day. I was like,
yeah,
okay, that doesn't look that bad. We're getting a little bit of winter, which is expected in March.
Yeah, and then we get some much more spring-like weather, so early taste of spring.
It's peeking through, that's for sure. Thanks, Eric. All right, time morning, and thank you for joining us this half hour. I'm Callahan Marshall in for Gary. So, like I said before, chilly start to the morning, but pretty dry. Storm team meteorologist Eric Gage is joining us now. Eric, we are going to see a warm up, but we really are tracking that lunar eclipse.
Yeah, it's a pretty cold start, and if you bundle up just perfectly, you'll be able to actually see some of this outside today. We're dodging some cloud cover right now. We look at the live view from our Nexus camera here, where as you can see, we've got pretty good conditions for the Nexus camera to see this lunar eclipse here. It's on the fringe of the cloud cover early this morning. So, but at least for right now, over half of the moon already covered. We'll continue to watch it throughout the morning today. And again, right now it's pretty dry. We have dry conditions this morning, but as Callahan mentioned, still very cold. So make sure you grab that extra layer heading outside this morning. The reason why it's a bit difficult to see this lunar eclipse for some of you is because we have an approaching low pressure system, and this can be producing snow, a wintry mix, eventually rain this afternoon. At least for now, though, it's going to be dry. Temperatures are in the teens and single digits, and as we progress throughout the morning, we will see highs approaching potentially the low 30s with that snowfall beginning to arrive in the afternoon. Again, we'll be following the lunar eclipse, plus we have the timing, the impacts, locations, amounts, everything you need to know for that Tuesday forecast coming up in a few minutes. Callahan?
All right, Eric, thank you. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. New this morning.
News Channel 2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli. This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise. We begin on this Tuesday morning with a look at our photo of the day today, which brings us to a great scene of a winter wonderland. This was taken in Frankfurt Schuyler. Look at this beautiful shot here of the icy scene sent in by Monica and the faint sunny glow out in the distance. If you have a photo like this you'd like to share with us to showcase the beauty in your neck of the woods, WKTV.com/weather/pics, the place to go for that. That photo and every photo brought to you by GPO Federal Credit Union. Now again, lunar eclipse happening right now. Let's see if we can take a live view in our Nexus camera. Look at that right there. It is almost a faint fingernail. If you're wondering why is it dark right now, well, that's the Earth's shadow. And as that moon begins to set, we're going to start to see it turn a bit more on the blood red side as the lot more light passes through the atmosphere. So fingers crossed that the cloud cover stays at bay here. It's been very finicky. Some of you, unfortunately, might not be able to see it due to that cloud cover, but again, this is what we're looking at right now. So we're going to see that eventual orangish, reddish hue turn a bit more red as we progress throughout the morning. We'll continue to follow that over the next few minutes. Callahan?
That is super cool. Thanks, Eric. The king of physical comedy is coming.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. We continue to track that lunar eclipse happening right now here over central New York, and we have a decent view of it. Before the clouds come in, let's take a look at it right here. We have a very narrow sliver of sunlight on the portion of the moon there on the bottom right here. And in the next few minutes, it eventually will be engulfed by Earth's shadow, and it'll look much, much different in the span, again, of that in the next few minutes. And a reminder, when it comes to the timeline, the total eclipse begins at 6:04. So again, we're a few minutes away. It turns blood red as we head closer to sunrise. Then, around 6:35, the moon will set, and it's below the horizon. And then, although we would still technically be in the eclipse, the moon is, of course, outside of our field of vision, and that's when the eclipse will officially end for us. So, we look at the radar and satellite. We're basically battling this approaching low-pressure system, producing, of course, cloud cover initially. Eventually, we've got snow, sleet, freezing rain, a wintry mix expected this afternoon as that system moves its way in. But at least for now, if you're heading outside early today, you will have no travel impacts getting to where you need to go. So, what happens today? We see here the Skycast shows the snowfall approaching in the early afternoon. It's light to moderate. We're not expecting any heavy snow today. And then following that, we've got a bit of a wintry mix, mainly south of the Mohawk Valley, switching more over to a rain mix in those zones in green by the evening after sunset. And this will linger overnight as well, maybe a few slippery spots, but it will be ending by 6 a.m. Wednesday regardless. Cloudy skies, maybe some patchy fog, especially for those of you in the southern valleys due to that rainfall. And then it's pretty dry Wednesday. Some peaks of sunshine in the afternoon, otherwise a cloudy day. Thursday looks pretty dry itself. We're going to be looking at the arrival of more rainfall as we head into Thursday night. So that's something that we're tracking here as well. But nonetheless, when it comes to snowfall, it's not a lot of snow today, so don't expect a lot of accumulations. Just expect maybe a few slippery spots due to a light layer of ice possible from this system rolling through the area. So just something to watch out for today. Your 7-day forecast, although we're talking about a wintry mix today, that's the outlier. This really is the outlier the next 7 days. I mean, look at this, Callie. We're up into the 40s, approaching 50s by the weekend, and yes, we're dodging rainfall, but I think after the amount of snow, the amount of cold we've seen in the last couple of months, I think some people are already breaking out the shorts. Maybe a little too early, but...
No, it is central New York. Some people are probably actually breaking out the shorts.
Yeah, so we've got some warmth on the way pretty much. Early taste of spring.
I'm very excited for that.
Same.
Sunday looks great.
Yeah, looking pretty nice and 50 degrees.
All right, thanks, Eric. Days away from the 52nd, and thank you for joining us. I'm Callahan Marshall in for Gary today, here with Eric. So we are looking at a beautiful lunar eclipse. I mean, now it's a little covered up.
Yeah.
It was pretty a few minutes ago.
Yeah, every single time this happens, we're heading into the broadcast and it's this beautiful scene. And all of a sudden we're out to go live and then just a cloud hits just at the right moment.
Timing's everything.
Yep. So here's a look at what would be a total lunar eclipse right now, and at least for the time being, not easy to see. And I'm going to be trying behind the scenes to kind of move things around and tinker with a few things to try to see if I can load this up here. Because again, once that moonlight is no longer reflected by the sun and it's just Earth's shadow, the exposure is so much lower. So this is definitely a process that is going to be basically a thing that's going to be going on throughout the morning here. So in the meantime, yes, we are in its totality in the next couple of minutes, and then we'll progress throughout the morning, seeing the hopefully beautiful shots of the blood moon this across central New York. Yorkville Battery Live Radar, we're dry early today. We are seeing an approaching low pressure system producing some snowfall, especially south and west of central New York early today. It will reach our area in the afternoon hours and then eventually a bit of a wintry mix this evening. Temperatures this morning in the teens, single digits, negatives up north, a little bit warmer with those clouds have been persistent down south and west. So either way, today, after a dry and cold start, we're up to near 32 degrees this afternoon with the arrival of some snow, eventually sleet, freezing rain, and rainfall to wrap things up at the very end of it. But it depends on where you are. Not everyone's going to see all that wintry mix. We'll be diving into who sees what, the amounts, the timing, everything you need to know to plan out your Tuesday forecast coming up in a few minutes. Callahan?
All right, Eric, thank you. And don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. New this morning, some of us.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back. Time now is 6:13 going on 6:14 on this Tuesday morning. And overall, we've got a quiet, cold start and a busy afternoon in terms of snow and a bit of a wintry mix. But this morning, the big story has been that lunar eclipse. And this is getting to the point where the clouds might just be a bit too much to cover all of that very faint light this morning. There is the lunar eclipse right now, and you might not even see it on your screens. I was hoping to get a bit of the more blood red color today, but we did get to see it. That was the thing. At least we got to see it. But hopefully some of you in some less cloudy areas, especially north and east of Utica, if you live in those zones, I hope you guys have some amazing shots of that blood red color to start your day. This is what it looked like this morning before, of course, it got engulfed by that by Earth's shadow. But nonetheless, let's talk a bit about what you can expect condition-wise today. Now the eclipse is somewhat ending. We have snow showers this afternoon, a bit of a wintry mix this evening, and it largely depends on location. Here's a look at the timeline here. So we see the leading edge of some scattered light to moderate snow showers this afternoon. Some mixing starting to take place in the southern valleys, shifting its way north, and eventually some rainfall in the southern valleys. Now, although this shows snow, this might even be a bit of a sleet-type snow mixture, so either way, just watch out for some slippery spots this afternoon and this evening. Not a lot, but just extra caution. We'll be diving into a lot more detail on this coming up shortly. Callahan?
All right, we'd like to think it's nearing the end of winter, and you'll have that answer for us soon.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. It's been overall a pretty exciting morning here in the Weather Center, kind of tracking a lunar eclipse, and well, pretty much it's over and done with. The moon is now slowly getting closer to the horizon. It's very faint, if anything, but this is a glimpse of what it was before it faded away. We get to see a shot of that very faint reddish color here. This is what we were tracking throughout the morning. And as it headed closer down toward the parking garage outside the Wynn Hospital, it just got a bit more difficult to see, to the point where you could barely even see the outline at all. So we were dodging the clouds approaching from the southwest. That was our thing that was potentially going to be the culprit of not seeing this. And a lot of you, unfortunately, might not have with that approaching system. But at least I can tell you right now, the morning commute will be dry. However, this afternoon might be a different story. Let's talk about it here in our Skycast. Today, clouds will increase. Temperatures climb into the upper 20s, low 30s. By 12 p.m., scattered snow showers, light to moderate in nature. Not a lot, enough to potentially coat some surfaces as we head around 3, 4, 5 p.m. Then by around 5 or so o'clock, temperatures start getting to the point where we're right around the freezing point, and that's going to produce some wet, heavy flakes before switching over to maybe a sleet mix. And then rainfall as you head farther south as that cold air erodes. So it's one of those scenarios where there's a mixed bag of everything. Remember about a week or so ago, and I mentioned everything but the kitchen sink, and literally everything but the kitchen sink fell? Something like that today, but it won't be as intense. It won't be as concerning. Still, just watch out for some slippery spots. That ends by Wednesday morning. It's cloudy to start. We have some sunshine peeking out in the evening, maybe some fog in the morning, by the way, a heads up for that. And then Thursday starts out dry. We have some rainfall arriving later on in the night. When it comes to snowfall, as you can see here, it's not a big concern, the amount. But again, when it comes to ice, sleet, freezing rain chances, there's enough here today just to make sure you guys are aware that some slippery spots could form again on some of those untreated surfaces. Your 7-day forecast, yes, we're talking about a wintry mix today, but I think you might see that some of these temperatures and might wonder if this might be an outlier here. We won't really climb or fall below freezing for a lot of the next 5 to 7 days, with some rain chances and some much warmer temperatures climbing as high as the low 50s by this weekend. And on this lunar eclipse Tuesday, if today is your birthday, have a great one.
This half hour, I'm Callahan Marshall, and I'll be joined by Eric Gage, who is going to show us a live stream of the lunar eclipse. It was pretty nice this morning. The clouds actually did a pretty good job staying out of our way. I thought they were going to be worse.
Yeah, that was my surprise too. You know, it's central New York. Usually something cool happens in the night sky. Clouds are here saying, well,
Usually
hold
up.
up. Yeah. Here's a look at what it was like about, say, a half hour ago, before it got a bit difficult to see. In fact, you are watching right now, it might be a bit difficult to see. There's the outline right here. You can see it. As, of course, it gets closer to the horizon, it's more of a red color, but of course it gets more and more faded. And on top of that, we had clouds finally rolling in. So that was one of the problems with that lunar eclipse this morning. But nonetheless, the eclipse is over with. It's now below the horizon. The moon is anyways, and we're starting to see that sun begin to rise. Now, it is pretty cloudy in a lot of spots, especially south and west of Utica. Temperatures this morning hovering in the single digits to low teens. So a cold start, but a dry start. We take a look at downtown Utica right now, a pretty dry scene out there early today. And as we head throughout the morning, Yorkville Battery Live Radar shows dry conditions, but here's that leading edge of snowfall set to move in the late morning and early afternoon. And following that, we've got a mixed bag of weather today. We've got snowfall, we have a wintry mixed chance. Some of you may even see some rain. It's everything with the kitchen sink again, that time of year. But this will be the outlier in what we'll be expecting throughout much of the week this week. We'll be talking a bit about the timing, the amounts, locations, everything you need to know to plan out your Tuesday, coming up in a couple of minutes. Callahan?
All right, Eric, thank you. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. New this morning,
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Tuesday morning. Our photo of the day today brings us to a great wintry scene, a icy wonderland in Frankfort and Schuyler right there. Look at this shot here of a beautiful sunny rays, or at least sunshine rays, over the valley there, and of course those beautiful icy conditions, and just overall a breathtaking photo here sent in by Monica. So shout out to those of you watching from the Frankfort Schuyler area, and if you have a photo like this you'd like to send to us, like this beautiful photo right here, WKTV.com/weather/pics is the place to go to submit your own, as well as if you have any photos of the lunar eclipse. I'd love to see them throughout the morning today, and hopefully we have one for our photo of the day tomorrow. This photo and every photo every morning brought to you by GPO Federal Credit Union. Now today it is cold. We do have a bit of a wintry mix, but notice here, you might not see a whole lot more of wintry mixes this week. We're talking 40s and 50s with some sunshine chances, with rain chances. But either way, feeling a lot less like winter and a bit more like spring following today. Callahan.
All right, the king of physical comedy is coming to Turning Stone Casino on April 18th.
Most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. We started out the day today with a view of a total lunar eclipse, and now our attention will turn to at least a bit of a wintry mix that could impact some travel later on in the day today. But before we get to that, though, I just do want to showcase that amazing shot here. Before the moon began to set in the horizon here, a very faint view of the blood moon here. It was more of an orangish color. Of course, if the clouds were a bit less persistent, as it set further, it would appear a bit more red in nature. But either way, I was glad we got to see it this morning. I hope a lot of you were able to as well. Now our attention turns to this approaching low pressure, which is going to bring the arrival of at least snowfall to start and a bit of a wintry mix as we head throughout the afternoon, largely dependent on location. But at least for now, I can tell you your morning commute will not have any impact. This is well to our south, so in the next few hours, bus rides to school, your commute 8, 9, even 10 o'clock should be dry, should be okay. Now on our Skycast here today, we are starting to see the arrival of these clouds, and eventually by noontime, a few scattered light snow showers, temperatures climbing into the upper 20s, pushing 30 degrees. And as we head throughout the evening, still a mainly snow scenario up north, but as you head farther south, there could be some mixing taking place here. So it could range from big, clumpy, wet snowflakes to a sleet mix to maybe some rain that freezes on contact, and eventually just rain itself as you head farther south of Route 20. A lot of moving pieces here, but generally speaking, what you see here is the idea of who sees the most amount of what. Regardless, this will exit by the overnight hours. Wednesday starts out dry, it's cloudy, and it does begin to warm up as we head throughout the day, with some rain chances arriving late Thursday night. When it comes to snowfall, I do want to emphasize this is not one of those events that's going to dump 6, 7, 8 inches of snow. This is just enough to produce a clumpy inch or two in some spots and be a little bit higher in those elevations north. But the main thing today is the ice potential. Again, whether it would be sleet or freezing rain or just a bit of a mixing in with snowflakes. On a day like today, it's enough to cause some slippery spots on untreated surfaces, higher elevations. The main roads and lower elevations should be treated and plowed enough to the point where there should be little to no impacts there. But regardless, following today, we do have a serious lack of winter weather. Some people were asking, we're going to see an early taste of spring, and I think we're going to see it this week. I mean, I got 40s and 50s, we got rain, we've got sunshine. And overall, it's going to feel definitely like that early taste of spring that has been very elusive the last couple of months.
Can never rule out snow, though, in March. March is
no,
such a
never
mixed
rule it
day.
out.
But we are getting some tastes of spring, so I am loving that.
Yeah, at least this week, though, there's no major snowstorm, so we're good.
Yes, all right. Thanks, Eric. Days away from the 52nd edition of America's Greatest
with Steve McMurray.
And a good Tuesday afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. I'm Steve McMurray in for Gary today.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
Well, clouds were stubborn for some spots this morning, but we were able to see glimpses of the total lunar eclipse.
Yeah, and at least for us, it was enough to see a little bit of it. But I will say some other spots maybe saw a bit better. Either way, today, now the eclipse is over, our attention turns to some impactful wintry mix. Let's take a look right now at the radar here. This is a snapshot of this. This is a live look at downtown Utica right now. As you can see here, we got some snow falling. Cooperstown, snow falling as well. In Oneonta, you've got some of that snow working its way in. A bit heavier here right now compared to, say, about a half hour or so ago. Now, Yorkville Battery Live Radar, we have that the brunt of this continuing to move its way north and east right now. We have that wintry mix starting to move in as well, and you can see right behind it, too, some of these pockets here. We'll closely track that as it could cause some slippery spots here locally. Temperatures are in the 20s and low 30s. And that's the key here, a very narrow corridor of cold air near the surface. Either way, temperatures peak in the low to mid 30s today. Tonight, switching over to rain, then drying up. And again, as we head into the next few days, some drier weather and some warmer weather. This is the outlier. But again, we'll talk a bit more about this wintry mix coming up in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Eric, and I didn't mean to steal your thunder. We were going to talk about the eclipse.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, I should say. This morning, we got to see a very nice shot of the lunar eclipse. Now, as it was taking place, the clouds are increasing. It was a bit of a letdown, especially as it headed toward the end. A lot of you might even just have seen clouds. This is about as clear of a shot we were able to get from our tower cam on the Nexus Center before just the overall light from the moon was so faint that it just faded out in the morning twilight and the clouds out in the distance. But we did get to see that blood red color, which was the expected event to happen from this lunar eclipse. Now our attention is focused more on this freezing rain, sleet, and snow event passing through the area right now. It's a broad area low pressure. It's shifting its way into central New York, where it is colliding with cold air and producing, again, this snow and wintry mix. You can see some right here passing through mainly Otsego County and into southern Herkimer County. That's where the brunt of this snow is falling early this afternoon. And as you take a look here in the Skycast, that's pretty much what we are expecting. Now, there are a few spots, especially north and west of Utica, that might see some of it, but much of the impacts will be to our south, or south and east. Then this evening, it's continuing to warm up, enough to produce maybe a line of rainfall in the southern valleys. So we've got pretty much a mixed bag of weather today. I wouldn't say it's enough to warrant an alert day like days past where we have seen some pretty intense conditions, but just be on the lookout for some icy spots, especially in those hilltop locations. I can't stress it enough. Untreated surfaces could turn very icy very quick. Lower elevations and main roads should be okay. And then after that, it's pretty quiet for your Wednesday and for much of Thursday, with dry weather until rainfall arrives Thursday evening and Thursday night. So again, maybe an inch or two of snowfall sticking on surfaces, but the big story today will be the potential for ice. And ice is always much more in terms of impacts, the higher impacts compared to snowfall here on days like today. Your 7-day forecast following today's cool down. Believe it or not, this is probably the last time in a little bit we're going to see any span of wintry weather. We have that early taste of spring really moving in. I mean, a month or two ago, we were looking at single digits, 30s, barely even 30s, 20s, 10s, zeros. And now we've got 40s and 50s. It's that gradual slide up. It's not a certainty we're back to spring yet, but
sure,
it's a taste of it at the very least.
That's right. And then, as we talked about, we're going to move the clocks ahead on Sunday morning, so the sunsets will be later, and that will make folks think that spring is around the corner as well. All right, thanks a lot. Well, we'll check the forecast in this half hour, and for that we bring Eric in. And little bit of a mix going on right now.
Yeah, we got a bit of a mess, especially heading down toward Otsego County. Let's take a look at the radar here because we have some snowfall working its way through, and it lasted about maybe 5 to 10 minutes in Cooperstown, which I'll show in a second here. But there's a very narrow band of heavier snow passing in those darker blue zones there. In the meantime, our next concern would be the potential for some mixing taking place. See all this pink here? That's freezing rain potential as temperatures are hovering right around that freezing point today. So especially in this zone right here. I'm actually going to mark on the map here. Let me start drawing right here. So basically any zone that is right outside this line right here. In this pocket, this is where that freezing rain, some snow, some sleet is possible. The more north and east you head, the less likely that will be taking place. Downtown Utica, we got a few flurries falling. It's nothing major right now, but it's enough to potentially coat some untreated surfaces. More importantly, in Cooperstown, that band has just passed. You can see here, snow-covered surfaces. It's not a lot today, but keep in mind, you don't need a lot of heavy, wet snow to produce some slippery conditions. Oneonta, which we saw earlier with a lot of heavier snowfall, is now drying up a little bit, but again, it's all dependent on location, as of course there are several pockets of these snow bands here and there. What appears to be rain, but at least based off of the temperature, maybe freezing rain in Binghamton right now. Snowfall in Hamilton and snow in Albany. Sunshine, of course, up in Saranac Lake. And today, highs will peak in the mid-30s, but that'll really take place in the evening and tonight. A lot of spots clinging to that 32, 31, 30-degree mark, which could cause concern for some slippery spots. Again, we're tracking all the details on that coming up in a few minutes. Steve?
Eric, thanks. We're just a few days away.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. A very busy day today. We had a total lunar eclipse start your morning, and then now we're tracking some potential impactful weather, especially icy conditions as you head south and west and east of Utica. Radar and satellite showing us pretty much one of those scenarios where it's everything but the kitchen sink. You could say it's one thing, it's another thing. Basically, it's everything today, and it all depends on location. And it's mainly south and east Utica where this general path is going. Some outlying effects as you head north and west, but either way, let's dive into what's going on right now. We have a leading edge band of snowfall that has been expected and so far producing a coating of snow in some spots, slippery conditions here and there, freezing rain reported especially in the southern tier, and you can see some of that with some of that pink here right now as it slowly progresses its way north and east. So in the meantime, I'm just going to look at our correlation coefficient here. This measures the mixing in the atmosphere, which we can actually see right here. If I move this around a little bit, we actually can see where some of this mixing is taking place. Those brighter yellows right there. So it's not widespread, but at least it's enough to warrant concern for some slippery spots. And again, primarily in higher elevations, less traveled roads, that's the big key here. Now, the leading edge of it's moving through. Now watch the transition. See here, there's a lot of basically everything. We got freezing rain, we've got rainfall, especially in the southern valley, south of mainly Route 23 and Route 20. And then as we head into the evening, we have some lingering snow up north, maybe some freezing rain in the Mohawk Valley, and then it exits overnight tonight. Tomorrow morning, it's starting out pretty dry, cloudy, maybe some fog. And then by the afternoon, we have some peaks of sunshine, temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. A pretty nice Wednesday. Now, Thursday here, we could be seeing the arrival of some rainfall, and that looks to arrive in the later half of the day. And with it, too, some potential for maybe some ice on the leading edge of it right here, some freezing rain potential. But for right now, it's not a big concern just yet. We'll wait for more data to come in for Thursday. In terms of ice, again, that's the biggest thing today. Snowfall, there's not a lot of it. Maybe an inch, 2 inches tops in some spots. And to be fair, that snow could be a bit slippery. It's going to be a wet, clumpy, slushy snowfall. But either way, ice the bigger concern today. Just watch out for some slippery spots because it can be hard to see sometimes when surfaces do get iced over. And also as a reminder too, bridges ice over faster than roads. They can dispense heat a lot quicker. So just a heads up if you're going over bridges to not potentially do any sudden turns. But this is the outlier today, and especially tomorrow night. We head into the weekend. We're warming up. We got a taste of spring, an early taste of spring, warming up into the 50s by this coming weekend before you turn your clocks forward an hour on Sunday. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks.
With Kristen Copeland and Jason Pallas.
Light snow is changing over to sleet and freezing rain tonight, which could make for slippery roads.
We start tonight in the Weather Center, where meteorologist James DeFazio is tracking.
Yes, we're tracking a little bit of everything, including the kitchen sink tonight. Some snow, some freezing rain, some sleet, even some plain rain across the southwestern portions of the viewing area. But as you can see in downtown Utica, we changed over to sleet and freezing rain. But since then, we did pick up another coating of snow, and we have seen this transition of multiple precipitation types. Taking a look at up in Barneveld, they're seeing snow. The arterial cam frozen over due to the freezing rain. Herkimer, slushy roadways. Route 12 and Sangerfield, just wet roadways as they are slightly warmer. Looking at your Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, again, the farther east of Utica you go, the tougher the conditions. Cold air is locked into the valley, and we're going to continue to show that. Although all of central New York seeing a mix of sleet, freezing rain, and plain rain. 28 degrees with light snow falling at Griffiths and Rome, and it's this easterly breeze that's been keeping this cold air locked into the valley. We're going to show that in our temperature maps coming up in full weather. The wintry mix continues tonight in the upper 20s to low 30s. We're tracking conditions to clear out overnight. Coming up, we'll break down the entirety of your forecast and when this comes to an end. Jason, Kristen.
All right, thank you, James. It's been 14 years since we've
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist James DeFazio.
Good Tuesday evening. It's rather sloppy out there across central New York with a mix of snow, rain, and freezing rain falling across central New York. Take a look at downtown Utica, which has seen a little bit of everything. You can see some snow in between the median there that has fallen, but we've also seen a little bit of freezing rain as well, which is making roads very sloppy and slippery. Taking a look at different road conditions, up in Barneveld, seeing snow down at Route 1220 corridor in Sangerfield, primarily just wet roadways where it's slightly warmer. The arterial camera up in Burstone Road in Utica, covered in ice as freezing rain continues to fall in the city of Utica. And then looking in the valley towards the Herkimer area where it's slightly colder than Utica, we're seeing some slush on the road, some sloppy roadways in the Mohawk Valley. Wintry mix continues this evening, but dry tomorrow. Rain chances, but rain chances are coming. We're tracking rain chances for Thursday night, Friday, and for Saturday. Much warmer weather is in the forecast for the upcoming days, especially as we head into the weekend. Your winter weather alerts all in the purple here. We have winter weather advisories in place for southern Oneida, southern Herkimer, Fulton, Montgomery, Madison, Otsego, and Chenango counties. These continue through the evening hours tonight and expire at 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. The nastiest conditions just to the east of Utica, where cold air is funneling down the valleys. Sleet and freezing rain south of Utica. The farther west you go, the warmer the air. We're tracking this warmer air to continue to work in our direction, but we're also going to continue to see this cold air entrenched in the Mohawk Valley. So as this precipitation arrives, expect more wintry precipitation to settle in to the areas that are already seeing it. We have that east wind funneling this cold air down the Mohawk Valley. Temperatures only in the mid-20s in the eastern Mohawk Valley. Dulgeville, 25 degrees. 26 in Westmoreland, 28 in Deansboro. Those are the coldest areas there, as well as northern Otsego County. Only 24 degrees in Cherry Valley, as well as Skenevis. The rest of us seeing warmer air being able to move in. But again, that cold air damming effect in the Mohawk Valley taking shape. 28 with light snow falling at Griffiths and Rome. That east-southeast breeze continuing to keep things chilly. Temperatures continue to rise as the night progresses, and precipitation turns more, I should say, less wintry, more rainy as we head towards the overnight. High pressure settles in for your day on Wednesday with dry weather. Look at tonight's skycast. Showers continue through midnight tonight, and then drier air settles in for the day on Wednesday. Temperatures in the mid to upper 30s during the day on Wednesday. It's going to struggle to warm up. We might crack 40 degrees for a short period of time before things cool back down Wednesday evening. This evening, 28 to 33 degrees with a wintry mix. Tonight, lows around 31 with a wintry mix coming to an end. A look at your 7-day forecast. We're tracking a rainy period after a dry day tomorrow. Rain chances increase Thursday evening, Friday, as well as Saturday. But take a look at those temperatures as we head into the weekend. Heart Walk, really, really impressive. We're talking temperatures in the low to mid 50s by the afternoon.
By the afternoon, that's the key.
Yes.
That's the key.
The morning is still looking like scattered showers, lower 40s.
So bundle up.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's all.
James. More than a month names for another look at the weather.
Shout out to Miss Comanal's 5th grade class who welcomed me in today. I wanted to give a shout out to them. They asked me to shout them out. They did a great job today letting me read to them, explaining a little bit about what I do here at forecasting the weather. We talked a little bit about forecasting. Speaking of forecasting, tonight's featured dog Murphy from Little Falls, and we're tracking wintry mix tonight. So your dog walk may be a little slippery. If you're heading out to do any dog walking this evening, you're going to want to wear some shoes that give you some traction because it is a little slick out there. We're seeing that mix of snow and rain continue. Taking a look at current temperatures across the region, we've had cold air funneling down the Mohawk Valley, Little Falls, Whitesboro, Westmoreland, all in the mid to low 20s. Warmer air both across the North Country as well as southwest of Utica. And that's as this warm front continues to move in, that is going to continue. We're going to see these temperatures continue to climb upward closer to the freezing mark as the night progresses. A look at our current conditions. Oh, sorry about that. It looks like it's frozen up on me. Look at our current conditions. 28 degrees with freezing rain coming down now at Griffis and Rome. They've switched over from snow to freezing rain. And again, it's this easterly breeze that's keeping this cold air locked into the Mohawk Valley. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the entirety of your Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 forecast, the Yorkville Battery radar, as well as current temperatures within the Mohawk Valley. Jason, Kristen.
All right, thanks, James. It's hockey night in Utica as the
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist James DeFazio.
Good Tuesday evening. A true mixed bag of conditions across Central New York. Snow, sleet, freezing rain, even some rain falling across the region. Downtown Utica, we just saw the plows go by a moment ago. They're dropping sand and salt, and it is working effectively on the roadways. Although if you're doing any traveling, just be aware that you may encounter some slippery conditions. Taking a look up north in Barneveld, there's some snow on the ground as snow and sleet continue to fall. Sangerfield, primarily wet roadways and less of an issue. Are the arterial, we've seen this camera get coated with ice a couple of times due to the freezing rain falling in Utica. And we've seen some slushy conditions on Route 5 in Herkimer where temperatures are colder and they're seeing a little bit of snow and sleet mixing in with the freezing rain. A wintry mix continues this evening. It's dry tomorrow, but we have plenty of rain chances coming. And then much warmer weather is ahead, especially this upcoming weekend. Winter weather advisories for Madison and Shenango County have expired. Oneida, southern Herkimer, Fulton, Montgomery, and Otsego County, where the coldest air lies, these continue until 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. And that's because we're going to continue to see these showers work from west to east into this colder region. Your Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar showing some snow to the east of Utica, a wintry mix across central New York, and some plain rain as you get to the southwest of Utica. Looking back towards Buffalo, we still have some showers that are all the way back through the Rochester region. These are going to continue to work through central New York, and we see precipitation for the remainder of the evening. Temperatures in the Mohawk Valley, very chilly. We're seeing an east wind blow cold air down the valley. It's keeping temperatures in Utica, Rome, around the upper 20-degree mark. Dolgeville all the way down at 25 degrees as that east wind funnels some of the coldest spots in all of New York State. That also goes for extreme northern Otsego County. The rest of Otsego County in the low 30s, but extreme northern Otsego County in the tip of the Mohawk Valley, the southern tip of the Mohawk Valley, temperatures only in the 20s. 28 with freezing rain falling at Griffith and Rome and that east wind at 9 miles per hour. Showers work out of the region quickly tonight. After midnight, dry conditions settle in. High pressure takes control of our weather for the overnight and for the day ahead on Wednesday. As we head into Wednesday evening, as we head into the day on Thursday, we see some sprinkle chances during the day on Thursday, but we're tracking widespread rain to arrive late Thursday into Thursday night, possibly a repeat situation of some freezing rain in the Mohawk Valley Thursday night into Friday morning. Skycast showing these showers quickly exiting after midnight tonight. They are around through the evening hours, though. Drier conditions arrive overnight, cloudy conditions. Temperatures relatively stable in the low 30s, lows around 31 degrees. Tomorrow, a couple breaks of sun during the middle portions of the day as we warm up into the upper 30s to low 40s, and then clouds return by the evening as temperatures settle into the upper 20s. This evening, temperatures in the upper 20s to low 30s, wintry mix. Overnight tonight, lows around 31 with that wintry mix coming to an end. A look at your 7-day forecast. A dry day tomorrow. It gives us a little bit of a break because we have a rainy pattern settling in for Thursday, for Friday, and for Saturday. A major warm-up arrives this weekend as we crack the 50-degree mark for Saturday, Sunday, and into next week, Monday and Tuesday.
With Kristen Copeland and Jason Pallas.
We are on a weather roller coaster right now. Slick conditions on the road right now. Improvement tomorrow, but then we're back to rain on Thursday.
All over the place. Meteorologist James DeFazio is tracking it all for us from the Weather Center.
Yes, tonight we're tracking a true mixed bag across central New York. We've seen a little bit of snow, a little bit of freezing rain, even some sleet mixing in at times in downtown Utica. However, they are treating the roadways well. We've seen plenty of plows going by, but if you're heading out, just be aware you may encounter some slick conditions. Route 12 and 28 in Barneveld, seeing some snow and slush on the roadways. That is the same for Route 5 in Herkimer, also some slushy conditions as well. We've also seen freezing rain cover the arterial camera as well. So just keep that in mind as you head out the door this morning, or head out the door this evening, that we still have some slippery conditions. The slickest on your Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar are to the east of Utica. We do have warmer air beginning to build in from the west, and we continue to track that as it works in. But only 28 degrees with cloudy skies at Griffith and Rome. This east wind is really doing a great job at funneling cold air down the valley, and it's keeping our local areas in the Mohawk Valley and Utica and Rome right around the freezing mark or below. This wintry mix continues for a couple more hours and then comes to an end overnight tonight. Coming up, we'll take a look at the entirety of your forecast as well as who is seeing the worst of the conditions right now. Kristen, Jason.
All right, James, thank you. Snap changes are now in place.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist James DeFazio.
Good Tuesday evening. We're tracking everything, including the kitchen sink this evening. Snow, sleet, freezing rain, and even some plain rain well to the south. Taking a look at downtown Utica, there are slick spots around Utica. I know that this main road that we're currently showing, Riscany Boulevard, has been treated heavily and looks just wet and is okay. And that is the case for many main roads, although it's not the case for all main roads. 12 and 28 up in Barneveld, very slushy. 12 and 20 down in Sangerfield, just wet. We've noticed some ice on the arterial camera in Utica. We've seen some freezing rain at times and slushy road conditions as you get towards the Mohawk Valley. Route 5 in Herkimer, you can see some snow and sleet piled up on the road there. So just be careful if you're doing traveling this evening. A wintry mix continues for the entirety of the evening. It's dry tomorrow, but we have rain chances coming. And then we have much warmer weather ahead in the forecast, especially this upcoming weekend. If you're in one of these purple counties, Otsego, southern Oneida, southern Herkimer, Fulton, or Montgomery, be extremely careful on the roadways this evening. These are the areas that have temperatures below freezing and continue to see that wintry precipitation. Looking at your Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, again, the farther east of Utica you go, the nastier the conditions are. Across the southern tier, plenty of freezing rain. As we look back to the west, we have more showers working in our direction. It is warming up, but as these showers enter the colder locations, they are still going to see wintry precipitation. The Mohawk Valley still in the mid-20s as this east wind continues to funnel down the Mohawk Valley. The southern tier has warmed up with the exception of the southern Mohawk Valley, the northern portions of Otsego County, only in the mid-20s. Currently 28 with an east wind at 8 miles per hour, helping funnel that cold air down the valley. A look at the bigger picture showing that this area of low pressure works out of central New York very quickly after midnight, and then drier conditions settle in for the entirety of the overnight and the entirety of your day on Wednesday as high pressure takes control. Most of Thursday looks dry. A couple of sprinkles or flurries are possible, but as we head into Thursday evening and Thursday night, widespread rain works into the region. We also see a little bit of a wintry mix across Oneida and Herkimer counties as this settles in to Friday morning. A look at your Skycast for tonight showing widespread wintry mix continuing for a couple more hours. Temperatures do continue to rise, especially across Shenango and Madison counties over the next couple of hours. Showers fully come to an end after midnight, and then cloudy conditions settle in. Cloudy conditions settle in for the entirety of your day on Wednesday. Couple breaks within the clouds possible during the middle portions of the day, but still a mostly cloudy day with highs in the upper 30s to low 40s. This evening, temperatures in the upper 20s to low 30s with a wintry mix. Tonight, that wintry mix comes to an end, lows in the low 30s. A look at your 7-day forecast. A dry day tomorrow, and then we're tracking several rainfall chances. Thursday evening, Friday evening, as well as Saturday afternoon, although they are coming at temperatures that are much warmer. That is the one beneficial thing. And looking ahead to the weekend's forecast, temperatures in the low to mid 50s.
All right, James, thank you. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? Still to come on News Channel 2 at 6. Hot forecast with meteorologist James DeFazio. Checking out the area, it's a little bit slick in some spots, isn't it?
Especially as you look towards the Mohawk Valley. Herkimer, you can see the slop on the road. You can see that really sleet mixed with snow that just hasn't melted away entirely. That's where the coldest areas lie, and that's where we're seeing the most problem areas. We'll take a look at current temperatures. As we look in the Mohawk Valley, that's where this cold air continues to sit. Little Falls, St. Johnsville, and it's funneling all the way into central Oneida County. It's making its way into Whitesboro, Westmoreland, all of us seeing temperatures in the upper 20s. The southern tier, as for Sherburne, Earlville there, coming up at 32 degrees, those areas seeing warmer conditions and primarily plain rain. Again, southern Shenango County, southern Otsego County seeing plain rain. Utica, the Mohawk Valley, seeing a wintry mix and freezing rain. Snow and sleet mixed across the North Country as well as Old Forge. Old Forge seeing primarily snow this evening. Current conditions are 30 degrees at Griffiths and Rome with cloudy skies, and it's this easterly breeze that's helped lock in that cold air in the Mohawk Valley today. When we get that east wind, we get a cold air damming effect. Fortunately, we are not going to be dealing with these cold temperatures for too much longer. We're into the low 40s the next 2 days, upper 30s on Friday, and then we truly break out this weekend all the way into the low to mid 50s. Coming up, we'll take a look at the entirety of your forecast as well as when this wintry mix comes to an end. Jason?
James, thank you. It was...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist James DeFazio.
Good Tuesday evening. We continue to track this messy weather, this wintry mix, this snow, sleet, rain combination that has created slushy conditions this evening and created some slick roads. We're tracking this wintry mix to continue for another couple of hours. The back edge is working its way through the western portions of the viewing area right now. We'll show that back edge, and then the drier air works in for overnight and for tomorrow. But we have several days with rain chances coming in the near future. And we're also tracking much warmer weather as we head into this weekend. Temperatures finally break out. We get into temperatures we haven't seen in several months. Winter weather advisories continue for another couple of hours for southern Oneida, southern Herkimer, Fulton, Montgomery, and Otsego counties. These expire around 1 a.m. They may be extended an hour or two, although as we continue to track on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, plenty of wintry mix across central Oneida County. Across the southern tier, some of this is mixing with plain rain at this time, especially the western and southern portions of those counties. However, the Mohawk Valley continues to see very wintry precipitation and the coldest of the temperatures. Back edge of the rainfall now through Monroe County, now working its way through the eastern side of Rochester, and this is the last of our showers for tonight. But again, temperatures in the Mohawk Valley remain very, very chilly and are going to continue to produce wintry precipitation. 27 in Deansboro, 29 in Westmoreland. We have 27 in Dolgeville, 28 in Little Falls. That east wind continuing to keep things very cold down the Mohawk Valley. Again, northern Otsego County, 28 Cherry Valley, 29 Cooperstown. The rest of the southern tier actually above freezing and seeing plain rain. 30 degrees with cloudy skies up at Griffiths and Rome, an east-southeast wind at 6 miles per hour. This rain moves out of central New York very quickly tonight, and then high pressure settles in. The next weather maker looks to arrive late in the day on Thursday. Widespread rain arrives late Thursday. Tonight, this precipitation comes to an end very quickly. Temperatures stay in the low 30s for the entirety of the overnight. Very cloudy weather to begin the day tomorrow. Clouds decrease throughout the day. Temperatures climb up to near 40 degrees, and then clouds increase during the evening hours. We get a little bit of a break in the sunshine, or excuse me, a little bit of a break in the cloud cover during the mid-afternoon. Tonight, lows in the low 30s with that wintry mix coming to an end. A look at your 7-day forecast. After a dry day on Wednesday, we're tracking several chances for rainfall beginning Thursday night. Rainfall chances Friday morning and Friday evening into Saturday, as well as Saturday evening. Much more pleasant weather settles in the beginning of next week.
Road conditions out here.
Yes.
And it all depends on where you live.
Absolutely. If you're in the southern tier, you're really just seeing wet roadways, snow across the North Country, east of Utica across Route 5 in Herkimer, slushy conditions.
Yuck.
So we're seeing a little bit of everything depending on your location. And it's all temperature dependent. We've had an east wind today that has been funneling cold air down the Mohawk Valley, and that allows temperatures locally to hang on to much colder air than the southern tier, per se. You see Sherburne, Earlville there at 33. The rest of Shenango County also above freezing as well. But the east wind keeping northern Otsego, Little Falls, Whitesboro, Westmoreland, as well as the North Country below freezing. And that's helping initiate these this wintry mix to continue this evening. Looking at your Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, a wintry mix across the Mohawk Valley and central New York, snow across the North Country, a rain-sleet mix across the southern tier. This is all going to fortunately come to an end over the next 90 minutes or so. We are tracking the back edge of this. 30 degrees with now light snow falling at Griffiths and Rome. Winds have turned calm, which is good as well. We're also coming up on much warmer temperatures. We're tracking a major warm-up as we approach this weekend. Temperatures are going to climb into areas we haven't seen in several months, all the way up into the low to mid-50s. Coming up, we'll track that back edge of the wintry mix. Jason?
James, thank you.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist James DeFazio.
Good Tuesday evening. We continue to track this mix of snow, sleet, freezing rain, and even some plain rain mixing in across the southern tier at this hour. But fortunately, the back edge is nearing central New York. The wintry mix will continue for the eastern areas of our viewing area for another couple hours. Central New York going to only see about another 30 to 60 minutes of precipitation. Dry air settles in overnight tonight and for tomorrow, but we have plenty of rain chances coming in the coming days. We're also tracking much warmer weather, especially for the upcoming weekend. Winter weather advisories remain in effect for southern Herkimer, southern Oneida, Otsego, Fulton, and Montgomery counties until 1 a.m. And that's for this last batch of precipitation moving through this last batch of wintry mix. The back edge now working through Oswego, but this is going to continue to work across central New York. However, the areas that have seen wintry precipitation and are seeing wintry precipitation will continue to see wintry precipitation. As we look back to the west, calmer conditions, that drier air works in and settles in overnight. Again, temperatures in the Mohawk Valley have been the coldest, and that's because of the east wind that we had today. Only 27 in Dolgeville, 29 in Deansboro. The rest of us at least have up to 30 degrees. Are taking a look at the southern portions of the Mohawk Valley. Only 30 degrees in Cooperstown, 28 in Hessville, 35 in Cherry Valley. Finally, the warm air has finally reached Cherry Valley. Again, the southern tier much warmer. 30 with light snow falling at Griffith and Rome, and the winds have turned calm. Tonight's widespread rain and snow is going to move off to the east, and then high pressure takes control of our weather for the entirety of the day on Thursday. And then by Thursday night, we're tracking our next weather maker, which brings widespread rain. A look at your skycast for tonight showing that drier air works in very quickly tonight. By midnight, dry conditions with temperatures in the low 30s. Temperatures in the low 30s and cloudy skies continue into tomorrow morning. Mid-afternoon tomorrow, we get a couple breaks of sun as temperatures climb into the lower 40s. But as we head into tomorrow evening, clouds thicken back up. Temperatures dip back down into the low 30s. Tonight, lows around 31 degrees with that wintry mix coming to an end. A look at your 7-day forecast. After a dry day Wednesday, we're tracking several rainy days. Thursday night into Friday, periods of rain on Friday, periods of rain on Saturday as well, but at least it's coming at much warmer temperatures by the time we get to the weekend. Temperatures in the low to mid 50s this weekend. We'll be right back.